So, a few days ago, Sayadaw explained that the kind of dana that does not open the path of charana, moral conduct, then one will not be getting the benefit of dana. And because the path to charana, moral conduct, does not open up, then she cannot walk on the path, and his or her sila, his or her morality will be broken. She will be ruining, breaking the sila. By doing dana systematically, the path to sarana, the path to charana, moral conduct, will open. And walking on this path of charana, moral conduct, his or her body, speech will be pure, clean, tamed, gentle. There will not be transgression, so there will not be any burning, but there will be peace, and his or her body and speech will be lovable. So the person who performs dana, this donor will be well off. He or she will become well-to-do in life, smooth in life, throughout his or her life. So that's why this kind of dana can be cosmetic or ornament of life. By practicing sila, there will be bhava sampatti, there will be accomplishment in life. So by observing sila, the person's body and speech will be pure, clean, gentle, and lovable. And throughout his or her life, she will be a true human. She will be a genuine human. So this observing sila is the cause for bhava sampatti. His or her life will be beautiful. So the person who observes morality will have a beautiful life. Other kind of fragrance cannot go against the wind, but the fragrance, the scent of sila can go against the wind. So that's why the fragrance of sila excels all other fragrance, because it can go against the wind. And Sayadaw also explained that if one observes sila, she will become beautiful or handsome, and she will not be inferior. So by wearing sila as ornament or costume, she will be handsome or beautiful. So the person who does not do dana and who does not observe morality, she will be afflicted with madness. So the other day, Sayadaw explained that the person who failed to do dana or who failed to observe morality will be afflicted with madness. So there are many kinds of breaking the sila. At times, when one's lobha, when one's greed become extreme, then she will be breaking the sila. At times, when his or her dosa, anger or hatred become extreme, then he/she can break the sila. And at times, sila is broken because of extreme moha delusion. So just as ordinary kind of lobha, dosa and moha are the root of unwholesomeness, so also if one indulges in extreme kind of lobha, dosa and moha, one will not have control on oneself, so there will be transgression, one will be committing transgression, and one will be hurting others. Failing to control oneself by indulging in these defilements, he/she will be hurting himself, herself, as well as disturbing others. So both sides will get hurt, both the person who commits the transgression and also the surrounding will get disturbed because he/she indulges in extreme kind of lobha and so on. So if one indulges in extreme kind of lobha, he/she will be frenzied or mad with greed. So if the person is mad or crazy with greed, there will not be any patience, forgiveness or sacrifice. And then he/she will be also indulging in dosa. So if he/she indulges in dosa, anger or hatred, then he/she will be mad or crazy with dosa. So he/she will be lying, slandering, deceiving others. So he/she is afflicted with madness. And also there are people who have wrong beliefs. Their minds are perverted from the truth. So their minds are deviated from the truth. There will be perversion. And because of this wrong view, they will become mad or crazy with wrong view. Not knowing the bad consequences of ordinary form of lobha, dosa, moha, and not knowing the faults of extreme lobha, dosa, moha, he/she will indulge in this ajnana or a kind of delusion. So by indulging in this delusion, he/she become mad or crazy with delusion. So this is what Sayadaw was explaining in his last Dhamma talk. Today Sayadaw will continue to explain. So in the world, people are afflicted with madness because they fail to do the moral conduct, they fail to do their responsibility or duty. Because they are negligent, heedless, failing to refrain from things that should be refrained, negligent or failing to perform what should be performed. So these negligence, failure or heedlessness are called Pamada. And Buddha taught 3 kinds of Pamada. And today Sayadaw will explain about Pamada. By explaining about Pamada, negligence, failure or heedlessness, The opposite of Pamada, which is Apamada, will also be explained. The word Pamada is made up of two, Pa and Mada. Pa means extremely, and Mada means kind of dizzy. And if one is dizzy or drunk, then one will be tipsy. So if one is drunk, intoxicated, then one cannot control one's mind, and one will end up doing transgression. So Pamada means extremely intoxicated or extremely infatuated. If one is extremely infatuated, then she can become mad and then can commit transgressions. So it means that if one cannot control one's mind, if there is lack of mindfulness which has the ability to control the mind, if one is devoid of mindfulness, then there will be forgetfulness or negligence or failure. So this kind of forgetfulness is not relating to the forgetfulness due to illness or the kind of forgetfulness, loss of memory when one falls from a higher place. So it doesn't mean such kind of loss of memory. But it has to do with failure, negligence, and taking it easy. So being negligent, failing, so that one does not control his or herself. So failing to control his or herself, she is failing, she is negligent to follow one's responsibility or duty. So being negligent, there will also be failure. So Pamada means lack of mindfulness, failing or being negligent to refrain from things that should be refrained. So Buddha mentioned 3 kinds of Pamada: gross, medium, and refined. So Pamada means Kaya Dochariteva, Vaci Dochariteva, Mano Dochariteva, Cittassa, Vasakanupadana. Vasakanupadana. It means that the Kaya Docharita, the misconduct by body, killing, stealing, having sexual misconduct. So these are bodily misconduct. The verbal misconduct includes lying, slandering, cursing, swearing, harsh speech, frivolous talk. These are verbal misconduct. And the mental misconduct are wanting to take other people's belonging by force, wanting others to be destroyed. Having this kind of ill will is mental misconduct. So these misconduct by body, speech and mind, they make up 10 kinds of dukkha, 10 kinds of evil conduct. So if one lets their mind go free to commit these 10 kinds of misconduct, if one does not control the mind, if one lets one mind free on this misconduct, then there is Pamada. So if one does not know that his or her mind is at large, his or her mind being stray on these 10 kinds of misconduct, and even though he/she knows that the mind is going stray on these misconduct, failing to restrain, repeatedly letting the mind go free, repeatedly and committing this transgression is called Pamada. So keeping the mind free, keeping the mind straight on these misconduct is called Vissaka. And after letting it free, if one does not control, but if one repeatedly free his or her mind again and again, it is called Vissaka Nupadana. So both of these are called Pamada. So these misconduct should be refrained by each and everyone on earth. So it is everyone who should refrain from misconduct. Every person, regardless of religion or belief, should refrain from these misconduct. So failing to refrain from these misconduct, one will be failing to perform the responsibility or duty of a human being. So if one is negligent, then one will fail to do what is responsible as a human being. So having this negligence, failure, one is losing pure, clean, tamed, gentle, physical and verbal action. So one will be losing to have pure, clean, gentle, tamed action by body, speech and mind. So this is what the foolish people are doing, and this is the gross, which is most gross or crude kind of Pamada. So if one is lacking mindfulness, by lack of mindfulness, one will commit misconduct. And rather than controlling oneself with sati, mindfulness, one fails to control and one repeatedly commit these transgressions, one repeatedly do misconduct. So there are two kinds of this. If one does not know that these misconduct are things that are disgusting and frightening, not seeing misconduct as disgusting or frightening, one will not know that these misconduct should be disgusted or to be frightened of. So people commit these misconduct with ahirika anuttapa by lack of moral shame and moral fear. If one does not have moral shame and moral fear, one will be negligent to refrain from these misconduct. So there will be failure. He, she will be committing transgression, misconduct. So just like when one drives, when he, she is drunk, then he, she will end up in an accident. So in the same way, if one fails to refrain from things that should be refrained, then he, she is hurting others. So this will happen to those who does not want the welfare of others, even though they say they are wanting the welfare of others, they are just pretending. So if one does not have the wish for the welfare of others, they are lacking genuine kind of metta, they are lacking genuine kind of loving kindness. So if one lacks metta, if one lacks loving kindness, he, she is not free from hatred. Only if one associates with others with genuine metta, then there will be patience, forgiveness, sacrifice when dealing or when associating with others. So if one lacks this patience, forgiveness or sacrifice, he, she does not have any compassion towards others. So if one is lacking metta, loving kindness, he, she will not be free from hatred kind of dosa. Lacking compassion, lacking karuna, he, she will not be free from cruelty kind of dosa. So, having no compassion towards others, there will be transgression and others will get hurt. So, if one does not have loving kindness towards others, and if one does not have compassion towards others, then one will fail to protect others from being hurt. So there will be negligence, failure to refrain from transgression. So there will be violence, there will be transgression, there will be violence. So not having this moral shame and moral fear, he, she will be morally degraded. There will be violence and others will get hurt. So this happens, lack of compassion, lack of consideration towards others. So if one lacks this consideration or compassion towards others, there will be transgression and others will get hurt. And he, she is morally degraded, and at the same time other people get hurt. So failure to refrain from this transgression and violence, there are two causes. The first cause is lack of moral shame and moral fear, and the second one is lack of compassion, consideration towards others. So, failing to refrain from misconduct and hurting others, because one commits these misconduct, it's just like driving when one is drunk. So in driving a car, in order to get to the destination safely, the driver needs to stick onto the correct lane, and she should not be speeding. And the driver must know the traffic regulations. So when there are turns, one should slow down. And when one comes to a traffic light, when the light is green, one can go. If the light is yellow, one should slow down. If it is red, then one should stop. So if one drives accordingly, then she is not making any mistake, and she will be getting to the destination safe and smooth, and others do not get hurt because of his or her mistake. So it is very important to be careful not to make a mistake when driving. So one should be very careful so that one does not make any mistake. If one makes mistake when driving, she will be hurting himself, herself, as well as hurting others. So one should practice Satipatthana meditation so that one does not make one's mistake. So if one does not make mistake, then she will not be hurt and others will not get disturbed. So failure to refrain from things that should be refrained, it is Pamada. Failure or being negligent to perform things that should be performed is also Pamada. So one should perform things that should be performed. One should refrain things that should be refrained. So Buddha gave very accurate and definite guidance in order to bring benefit. And Buddha also gave discipline. Buddha prohibited things that one should refrain. So one should follow these definite guidance so that it will be beneficial. One will get benefit by following according to the guidance given. And one should refrain from things that should be refrained. One should be careful about the prohibition. One should abide by the discipline. If one fails to abide by the discipline, then it will be failure, negligence, and she will have bad consequences. There will be harm if she fails to abide by the discipline. So as a human being, one should be careful not to meet with danger or bad things, and one should be careful in order to get benefit. So in order to be away from harm, one should follow the discipline, and in order to get benefit, one should follow the definite guidance given by the Buddha. So failure to follow, failure to abide by the guidance and the discipline, this failure or negligence is called Pamada. So the opposite of misconduct is sucharita, good conduct. So the conduct, good conduct by body and speech are called sucharita. So this sucharita are the kind of bodily and verbal action that is pure, clean, gentle, and lovable. So it is not sufficient to perform this good conduct once only, but you need to do it over and over again. One needs to perform this good conduct repeatedly over and over again so that his or her life will be pure and clean. If one is able to do good conduct by body, speech, then he, she will be free from internal danger. Being free from internal danger, one will not be facing frightening kind of danger. If one commits misconduct, he, she is not free from internal danger. Whenever one reflects his or her wrongdoing, one will have fear, there will be self-criticism, he, she will be criticized or blamed by others, he, she will face the danger of he, she will face the danger of he, she will get the danger of getting punishment by law, and because his or her volition is bad, he, she will have bad consequences in life, and also one will be reborn in lower existences. So if one is not free from internal danger, then he, she will also meet other kind of frightening danger. If one can overcome the internal enemy, then one can also be free from danger. So people who commit misconduct, they will not live in happiness. There will not be any happiness, comfort, or well-being. They will always be in fear. So they will be having frights. When will they be punished? When will I be punished? So he, she will always live in fear. So having this kind of fear, there will be loss of appetite, his or her blood circulation, air circulation will not be good, and he, she will lose health. So there will be another kind of madness. It is called Pittu Mataka, the kind of madness with illness. So when his or her bile becomes bad, when his or her organ comes to become ruined, then there will be this kind of madness. And also, he, she will be mad, like being possessed by a spirit. So it is called Yakko Mataka, being mad due to the possession of spirit and so on. So when he, she have so many social problems, they resolve in drinking. And when the person is drunk, he, she is relieved from the sadness. But when he, she overcomes being drunk, then the problem is not solved. So this is Suro Mataka, being mad with with drinking or being intoxicated, being mad with intoxication. So it is called Suromataka. So doing this misconduct, one can have these kinds of madness, being mad with illness, being mad with possession of spirits, being mad with intoxication. So he, she will have a lot of loss in life. So when one has so much losses in life, he, she will have grief and sorrow. And there will be another kind of madness called Vyasanomataka, being mad due to loss. So in the world, there are a lot of mad people. And Satipatthana meditation can guarantee that these madness will be cured. So today the hour is up, so Sayadaw will continue in his next Dhamma talk.